Hello, viewers. Welcome to another edition of Football Discussion Daily. I'm your host, CGO. Today, Joe, my partner, is not here today because he's unavoidably absent. We'll be talking about the very important news today. Uh, Liverpool have parted ways with their manager, Arne Slot. Arne Slot, before his dismissal, uh, has spent 2 seasons with Liverpool. His first season, remember, he won the Premier League for Liverpool, but the second season, which just ended, wasn't really a very palatable one for Liverpool, even though they finished fifth and then secured a spot in the Champions League. They finished fifth with 60 points, which is one of the lowest since 2015-2016 season. And if you look at the point they got at the end of the 2025-2026 season, they were 25 points behind the league winners, Arsenal. So it wasn't a very good one for Liverpool this season. I think the management of Liverpool were not impressed with the way Liverpool performed, despite the amount they spent during the summer transfer window. So very unfortunate one for Arne Slot. He's no more. He's no more in charge of Liverpool as the manager. They are making plans to get a new manager, and the person who is being favored to take over the aims of affair is the former manager of Bournemouth, that is Anthony Ireola. Remember, Ireola parted ways with Bournemouth after qualifying them for the Europa League. So he is available for this position. So we're hearing news that Liverpool are already talking to Anthony Raola, and it's most likely he will be announced as the new manager of Liverpool. But if you look at it critically, the way Anthony Raola's team at Bournemouth, the way they play with very high intensity, which is a bit similar to that of Jurgen Klopp, their former manager. Is that possibility that he will likely succeed being in charge of Liverpool? But we'll wait to see what happens as the day goes by. Hopefully, if the position is confirmed, if Andoni Raola is finally confirmed as the manager of Liverpool, we'll let you know here on our show. So Liverpool have moved on, and Arne Slot is no more the manager. They are going to announce a new manager very soon. But I'm sure a lot of people were wondering why it took so much time for Liverpool to make this decision, because a lot of Liverpool fans probably would have preferred Xabi Alonso, who is now the manager of Chelsea. They would have preferred him to take charge of this Liverpool side, considering that he's a legend of the club. But I think the management have their reasons why it took them this time before they made this decision. So that is the situation with Liverpool Football Club. Now, another news that made waves today was the Champions League final between Paris Saint-Germain of France and the Arsenal Football Club of England. Today, it was a game that a lot of people um, weren't too impressed because of the way the game went. It wasn't a very interesting game, probably because of the tactical approach of Arsenal, because almost throughout the game, Paris Saint-Germain dominated the game. They had more possession of the ball. The Arsenal team were more defensive in their play. But again, when you look at it, I think Arsenal team, the way Mikel Arteta tries to approach every game, he tries to be more pragmatic the way he approaches game. He's more interested in getting the win. He's no more interested in playing so much attractive football, beautiful football, in order to get results, because probably he thinks that might not work for his team. So I wouldn't blame Arsenal the way they approach the game today because in times, so if they try to go toe to toe with Paris Saint Germain, Paris Saint Germain are they have better forward players who are very, very skillful. They are very good when it comes to dribbling. They are more pacey than the Arsenal attack. So people are complaining that it would have come that this Arsenal would have come out to attack PSG. But if Arsenal had won this game, I'm sure a lot of people won't be saying that. But that is football for you. When you lose, people will start trying to point out errors. But the reality is that the game started, and in the 6th minute, Kai Havertz was able to score a very beautiful goal. That goal was a very beautiful goal uh, in the first half, the 6th minute. And after they scored that goal, Arsenal were very solid defensively. They were very, very solid. Players like Kvaratskhelia were not given much space because the likes of Bukayo Saka was always falling back to help Christian Mosquera to ensure that Kvaratskhelia doesn't have all the spaces to dribble. It was really a very, very well organized Arsenal defense. In the first half, they were very, very disciplined. They didn't give PSG much space to operate, and that was why PSG couldn't break them down. In the second half, Arsenal continued with their defensive discipline, not until that error by Christian Mosquera when he brought down Kvaratskhelia. That was how Usman Dembele was able to convert the penalty to make it 1-1. That was in the 65th minute. That was when Usman Dembele scored the equalizer for Paris Saint-Germain. Even after they equalized, Arsenal continued with their defensive structure, and PSG had most of the ball, but they couldn't break the Arsenal defense. They couldn't really penetrate. At the end of the day, it went into extra time, and then we had Noni Madueke trying to beat Nuno Mendes, and then both of them, I think it was like a shoulder to shoulder. Madueke fell in the 18-yard box. Mikel Arteta felt that should be a penalty. Same thing with the likes of Declan Rice, who were trying to appeal to the referee to go to the VAR. But the issue is that when you look at it critically, that wasn't a penalty because it was shoulder to shoulder. And apart from that, Madueke was trying to prevent Nuno Mendes' hands because Nuno Mendes was trying to stretch his hand in front of Madueke so that he can have advantage of the ball. And then Madueke tried to take off his hand, and both of them fell. So that wasn't a penalty. The referee got that decision right, but I'm sure maybe our viewers might have a contrary opinion to what I've just said now. But that's football for you. It wasn't a penalty. And then the game continued, and there was no goal and no extra goal. There was no winner, and then it went into penalty shootout. Now it's unfortunate that Gabriel, who took the fifth penalty for Arsenal, lost the penalty. But I feel in football, penalty is a game of luck. I think the Arsenal players should be very proud of themselves. They were not humiliated, so far as I'm concerned. When the game gets to a penalty, even the best team, the worst team in that game might win or lose. So that's the way it is. It's unfortunate that Arsenal didn't get the win today because they haven't won the Champions League. This is exception, but I believe there are other opportunities in the future. Kudos must go to Arsenal for their defensive solidity. They did very well in this game. They were not poor, even though a lot of people expected them to come out and also attack and play go toe to toe with PSG. But sometimes the coach knows much better than we who are not part of the team. So uh, kudos must go to Paris Saint-Germain for winning, or let me say defending their Champions League title. They've made history. They are now the second team since the Champions League was rebranded. Remember, before 1992, they normally call it the European Cup. And then in 1992, it was rebranded as the Champions League. And since 1992, the only team that has defended the Champions League back to back is Real Madrid. 16, Real Madrid won the Champions League. 2017, they won it. 2018, they won it. So they won it 3 times in a row. So they are the only team that have done that. Now, Paris Saint-Germain are the second to do that since we had the rebranded Champions League from 1992. So Paris Saint-Germain won it last year, and then they won it again this year. So 2025, 2026, winner of Champions League is Paris Saint-Germain. And then we must also give kudos to the man they called Luis Enrique. Luis Enrique has now won 3 Champions League as a manager. That is quite incredible for him. The good thing is that he won it with Barcelona. That was in 2015 when Barcelona defeated Juve 3-1 in Berlin. And then being the coach of Paris Saint-Germain, he won it last year when the Paris Saint-Germain played against Inter Milan. 5-0 was what the scoreline was. And then this year, they won against Arsenal after 1-1 draw at full time and extra time. They won 4-3 on penalty. So what it means is that Luis Enrique is the 5th coach to have won the Champions League thrice. He's the 5th coach to have done that. And then I think the coach that have won it more is Carlo Ancelotti, who has won it 5 times. Luis Enrique has 3 Champions League titles. Pep Guardiola has 3. Zinedine Zidane has 3 Champions League titles, and then Bob Paisley has 3 Champions League titles as manager. So kudos to Luis Enrique. And apart from that, Luis Enrique has also made another history as the most decorated manager in Paris Saint-Germain. He now has 12 trophies, 12 titles. So he has broken the tie with Laurent Blanc. Remember, when before now they were both tied on 11 titles. So, but now that he has won this Champions League, what it means is that Luis Enrique has now won 12 titles. So he's the most decorated manager in the history of Paris Saint-Germain. So kudos to Luis Enrique. The issue now is that will he continue with this next season? Well, time will tell if Luis Enrique will be able to break more records with Paris Saint-Germain. But congratulations to Luis Enrique and Paris Saint-Germain. They did very well. I think they deserve to win the Champions League this season because they were playing very well, especially from the knockout stage. They were very, very incredible. So congratulations to them. We wish them the very best. So the question I'd like to ask our viewers as we try to close the program is the incident between Noni Madueke and Nuno Mendes in the 18-yard box of Paris Saint-Germain. Was that a penalty? We'd like to hear from you. And then, do you think Liverpool sacking Arne Slot, do you think that was a good decision? And then, do you think Ireola would be a very good fit for Liverpool? Please, we would like you to share your thoughts, give your comments, and help us to share these videos on our YouTube channel, on our Facebook, TikTok, and other social media platforms. Thank you so much for listening, and do have a wonderful time. Bye for now.